Welcome to the Legalpreneur Podcast. I'm your host, Andrea Sager, and I'm dedicated to covering common legal issues for small business owners and just how some of the world's most elite entrepreneurs have handled legal issues themselves. In true attorney fashion, the information in this episode is not legal advice. This is for informational purposes only, and you should always consult with your attorney before implementing any of the information. Now, on to the show. Hey, welcome back to another episode of the Legalpreneur Podcast. This week we are chatting all about enforcement and making sure your business is in compliance. Last week we touched on the simplest, most efficient way to get your business legal. Now we're going to be talking about how many business owners actually aren't legal and they're not in compliance and they could be facing lots of fines. Getting into compliance. What does it mean to be in compliance for your business? Well, number one, it's actually setting up a proper entity, whether that's a sole proprietorship, which we talked about last week, which that doesn't provide you with any legal protection, but it does mean that you are a legal business, so you can avoid those fees. Now, it doesn't provide you with individual legal protection because that comes only when you're at least an LLC. To make sure you're in compliance, you want to make sure you have the right business entity. There's several different entities. We have sole proprietorships, LLCs, partnerships, and corporations. Now, an S Corp, you may be thinking, okay, what about an S Corp? That's not actually a business entity. It's a tax election status. And you guys, if you want more details on all of this, it's all being covered next week in the free webinar. Select the right entity, and then making sure you're in compliance, you want to make sure you're not infringing on anybody's trademarks or copyrights or patents, because that can get you in a ton of trouble that I know none of you want to go through. So staying in compliance is your entities, also making sure you're not infringing on anybody else's intellectual property. Some quick wins right there. Make sure you're only using photos that you have taken or that you have a proper license to use. Next, we have trademarks, which of course, it's not just using the same exact name, that's trademark infringement. It's anything similar that could cause confusion with consumers. So if a client or a customer, if it's possible that they could think, oh, who's the true owner of this? Is it this company or this company? Oh, I saw this store open up down the road. Is this your location? No, it's actually another business owner. Okay, that could be trademark infringement. And again, we're covering all this in much more detail next week in the webinar. You know, I like to keep these episodes bite-sized and just giving you a taste of the legal protection that's needed. Intellectual property, of course, copyrights, trademarks, patents. So make sure you're in compliance there, not infringing on anybody. And then you want to make sure that you're in compliance making payments because you don't want creditors to come after you. So make sure you are paying bills on time, which this goes into being compliance as even an individual. But as a business owner, it can be very important, especially if you did not choose to file as an LLC. Now, compliance also means keeping up with your entity paperwork. So you may move and forget, oh my gosh, I forgot about my LLC. I forgot about my corporation. I forgot to update this information. You guys, if you don't update that information, you're not in compliance. And that could mean you lose your entity status and you're not actually a legal business. So these are all things that you must take care of as a business owner. It's all about becoming a true business or legal business and staying a legal business. Don't think it's just, oh, file some paperwork, we're good to go. No, you guys, it's an ongoing process and you have to make sure that you are always in compliance. Now, compliance is just a taste of the 5 steps that goes into the legal protection. So if you want the full dose of the 5 steps of legal protection, make sure you go to the training, sign up for it. Of course, you can learn how to win the $50 PayPal cash. Go to freelegaltraining.com. I hope you guys love these little bite-sized episodes. I know that sometimes, even now with COVID, you may not have such a far drive at all. Maybe you're just listening to it at home. So I try to make sure it's digestible as possible. And I don't like to throw too much at you because sometimes it can be too much unless you're prepared. So seriously, you guys, you cannot forget about this legal stuff. You can get in so much trouble, and doing and attacking this legal stuff up front can save you thousands down the road. All right, I'm out, you guys. Go to freelegaltraining.com. I'll see you next week, and please share this episode with your friends. Have a good one. I'll see you next week. If you found this information helpful, I would be so grateful if you could share it with a fellow business owner, and it doesn't cost anything to rate, review, or subscribe to the show. Your support helps me reach more listeners, which allows me to support more business owners in their entrepreneurial journey. I'll see you next episode.